But what's cool about Paraguay and many other parts of South America, people are just living their lives using cash. They're not being, surveilled, tracked, controlled by their governments. It's basically a cash-based society. I think I read a statistic somewhere where it's like 50% of Paraguayans are unbanked, living their lives anonymously, freely with cash. And I think that's a great thing. If you're from a country that's worried about CBDCs, so central bank digital currencies, I mean, here in Paraguay, a decent percentage of the population aren't even using debit cards or credit cards. So I can't really see those people adopting a CBC anytime soon. Hey guys, I'm Paul from Plan B Paraguay, and here we are with Nikki today. And we are talking about cash in Paraguay, specifically what cash they will accept, what cash they won't, some of the reasons why, and just a few things to keep in mind when you do bring cash here so that you don't run into any issues. So the good news is it's a lot easier than when Cam and I first came to Paraguay. A few years ago, you would get the permanent residency immediately, which was great, but you had to put $5,000 cash in the bank to qualify it. So we're informed at the time that we had to bring perfect condition bills with no rips, no marks, no tears, or else when we bring them to Paraguay, they won't even be acceptable. And at the time in Australia, this was during lockdown. So Cam and I, or me specifically, I remember in Melbourne, I would go to the money changer every day. I would change a little bit of Australian dollars to US dollars. They would give me some cash and I would have to hand pick exactly what bill because I knew that if I didn't, Paraguay would reject them. So what are we talking about today? So I will show you two $20 US notes, and one of them is they'll accept in Paraguay and one of them they won't. So let's go into some of the reasons why. So this one here, you can take it to the exchange here, you can exchange it for the local money, there'll be no problems. This one here, I don't think anyone will accept this bill. Now to people coming from the States, or you're probably used to, a $20 bill is a $20 bill. However, in Paraguay and other countries in Latin America, unfortunately, it's not that simple. So let's have a look at a couple of reasons why these ones would be rejected and these ones will be accepted, so that when you do come here, you make sure that you're bringing cash that you can actually use. So the first thing here, and I agree this is silly, but this is like weathered, yeah? It's a little bit scrunched up. They just don't like it here. It has to be nice and crisp and flat without any creases, or else they're gonna start getting suspicious. The second thing about this particular note here is that there's a very small blue ink blot in the lower right-hand corner. Now, this in the United States has no bearing on you being able to use this. However, many places, I'd say the majority here, would reject it simply for that issue. The second thing is I have another $20 bill that won't be acceptable here, and it's simply because there's a little mark. So in many cases in the world, when you convert, let's say US dollars into the local currency, for whatever reason, the local currency guys will put their stamp on it, right? And here we can see there's a very small ink stamp, XO. Simply because this cash is marked in that way, it will almost be very difficult to convert to Guarani, the local currency, or they'll convert it to you, but they're going to charge you, a couple percent, if not more, as a fee for changing what they would consider to be soiled bills. Now, what's interesting is that this only applies to particularly US dollars, right? The local currency, it can be in any sort of condition and people will use it. Here I have a 10,000 Guarani note, and this thing, I've had 10,000 Guarani notes, which is about $1.50, that are almost disintegrating, right? You can see this one's torn, it's ugly, it's old, completely acceptable, happy to take it in Paraguay. This quite, pretty good condition $20 bill, unacceptable, disgusting, don't waste my time. It's weird, I don't know why, but that's how it is. So I want to give you a few more examples of notes that they will accept. Realistically, if you're coming to Paraguay and you're trying to bring some cash, you're probably going to be bringing 50s and 100s, $20 less so. So the main thing about the 100s here that's very important is that most modern $100 bills in the US have this blue strip here, right? So any of the older bills, while they might be usable in the US, they won't accept them. So make sure that your US 100 has the blue strip. Besides that, again, you can see this 50 and this 100. These would be completely acceptable, and it's because they're very new looking. They look like they're freshly printed. They're not damaged in any way. They're not marked. They're not torn. They're not scrumpled up. Maybe you guys in the comments can mention why that is, but I noticed this isn't only a phenomenon in Paraguay. In a few other countries in Latin America, I've had the same thing where they only accept perfect notes. But what's cool about Paraguay and many other parts of South America is that it's basically a cash-based society. I think I read a statistic somewhere where it's like 50% of Paraguayans are unbanked, right? So people are just living their lives using cash. They're not being, surveilled, tracked, controlled by their governments. They're just living their lives anonymously, freely with cash. And I think that's a great thing. So if you're from a country that's worried about CBDCs and all that coming in, I mean, here in Paraguay, people aren't even, a decent percentage of the population aren't even using debit cards or credit cards. So I can't really see those people adopting a CBDC anytime soon. And when I say CBDCs, I really mean CBDCs. So central bank digital currencies, those really nasty things that they're trying to, they're trying to roll out around the world that, can't be a good thing for personal freedom and for, individual liberty. Another thing that I think is interesting is, I've been living in Paraguay for a while and I booked a trip to Ecuador. So I was like, okay, I know Ecuador uses the US dollars. I'm going to take all my perfect $150 bills to Ecuador so I can pay for stuff. However, the crazy thing about other parts of Latin America is when I went to Ecuador, I couldn't get a single person to accept a US $50 note. And the reason is because no one had change. It was such a high amount of money in Ecuador that the $50 notes I had, no one would accept them. So if you do by chance have some old tattered $20 notes, save them. Go to a country like Ecuador, even Argentina. They would love US dollars, especially in smaller denominations. So I think this shows that there's not one size fits all in regards to cash in Latin America. Some countries like Paraguay, and I know Venezuela, they love their beautiful, perfect notes. Some countries prefer much smaller denominations, so they're easier to use day to day. You're also probably wondering why I'm talking about US dollars in Paraguay when Paraguay has their own local currency, the guarani, as you can see here. The reason is, like many parts of Latin America, for purchases that are for larger amounts of money, whether it's a investment property or a regular property or a car, or even if you go to luxury and upmarket shops in Paraguay, they're going to accept both US dollars or guarani. So even though it's not the official currency in Paraguay, you can use it in many cases. You can also very easily convert it into the local currency at a very favorable exchange rate. I was actually surprised coming from Australia when you try to change Aussie dollars to US dollars and you lose a couple percent, if not more. You can take a nice pretty $100 bill here in Paraguay, convert it into the local currency, and you'll probably lose maybe, it's like 0.5%. Which is really amazing and convenient in terms of just how quickly you can move between US dollars and the local currency. The other thing is, besides local currency, probably some of the crypto guys are asking me, is crypto used in Paraguay? I would say yes, there's a very healthy underground scene in crypto where there's lots of P2P transfers. There's lots of guys interested in crypto here. There's lots of trading. So while I will say that Paraguayan banks do make it more difficult for crypto users to use their bank specifically in regards to the rest of society, crypto is widely used. You can easily have a crypto exchange from your Paraguayan cedula, from your Paraguayan ID. And that is something that you can use quite freely here in Paraguay. So hopefully you guys got some value from that today. Here at Plan B Paraguay, we live Paraguay, we breathe Paraguay. And part of our mission is to help you guys escape your country. The truth is that a lot of countries in the Western world, let's be honest, they're getting worse every year. Crazy headlines in the news every day, people invading each other. It's nuts, right? The tanks start rolling, the bombs start dropping, you guys are gonna want a backup plan. And it's really up to you, you know. Here's an opportunity that we've taken. We've come here and we're creating a better life here in a country that we think treats us better. And that's an opportunity we like to share with you guys. So should things get, you know, a little bit too much to bear in your country, you can come here, you can come to Paraguay, and you and your family can be safe. Whether it's living here full time like we do, or just as a backup plan, there is a link in the description if you guys would like to book a call with me and we can have a talk and we can see if Paraguay is a good fit for you. So that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. We're gonna keep producing content on Paraguay. Maybe put in the description in the comments if there's something you'd like us to focus on. Thanks guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Like that, or it's too much?
Ask because of the name, someone's coming in. Mickey, it's okay, I love you.
Get out. Who's that? Who's that, Mickey? Who's that?